Hello, we are doing mission 2 today, which is simplifying and using the distributive property. Some of you may have heard or used this before, but for many of you this is going to be new information. One thing that's not new, hopefully, is finding the area of a rectangle. The area of a rectangle, think in your head right now, do you remember what the formula is? The formula for the area of a rectangle is base times height, or length times width, whichever you would like to describe it as. So if we wanted to find the area of this rectangle, it would be 3 multiplied by 8. 8 times 3, use your multiplication table or your calculator, would give you 24. And over here, 2 times 3 would give you 6. So the area of that would be 6 inches squared. We do squared because it's inches times inches. It's an area, not just a length or a measurement. And this one would be 24 inches squared. I'm not too worried about the units as long as we get our numbers. So now down here in the bottom half, if I was to find the area of this entire piece, the blue piece and the pink piece, first, just looking at the blue one, my base times height, well, base is 7 and height is 3. 7 times 3 is 21. And then on the other side, this piece here, the height of this is still 3. So base times height, 4 times 3 is 12. So if I wanted all of this together, the area would be 21 plus 12 more will give us a total of, you could add it this way if you would like, 33. So the total area would be 33. They didn't tell us if it was inches or feet or meters or whatever, so it's just 33. We can apply the same property even if we don't know a side. We're multiplying this 6 by x and by 7. So first, 6 multiplied by x, we don't know what x is, so it's just 6 multiplied by x. Oftentimes, instead of putting the dot, in between, we write it as 6x, because we know if two things are next to each other, it means multiply. So we normally just write them as 6x. And then multiplying 6 times 7, well, 6 times 7 is 42. So if we wanted the area of this entire piece, we would have 6x plus 42. We cannot combine these two pieces together because this one has an x with it and this one does not. So this is our answer, 6x plus 42. That's the area of that entire green rectangle. This, what we just did, is really the distributive property. We multiplied 6 by x and by 7. So this is how we will often see it. We need to multiply 6 by x and by 7, and we know it's multiply because those two are touching. So let's take a look at that on the next page. It says use the distributive property to write an equivalent expression. So I'm multiplying this 4 by y and by 3. We use an area model or a rectangle base times height to represent this. Because our height is really 4 here, we're multiplying 4 by this piece and by this piece. So just how we did base times height before, our base or our height, one of the two, is really just something in parentheses. So we're multiplying the 4 by both pieces. I like to think of a scenario. If I'm the teacher and I'm going to stand in front of the classroom and everybody's in the classroom, would it make sense or would it be fair if I gave candy to just one piece and multiplied 4 times y? Or should I give candy to both halves of the classroom? And most of you would say, well, I want it for just me, but that's not fair. So we would have to give candy to both halves of the class. So we would multiply this 4 by y and by 3. So 4 times y, instead of writing with the dot there, we just write that as 4y. And then 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. So our answer is 4y plus 12. And the reason it's a plus is because it's a positive. And now if you really wanted to put the 1 there, so you knew 4 times 1 is 4, you can, but we still get the same answer. 4y plus 12. Then over here, our teacher out front is -5, and if we're going to multiply or give 5 pieces of candy to everyone in the class, we're multiplying by x, and we're multiplying by a positive 11. Make sure that plus or minus whatever's there goes with that number. So we have, if you want to put the 1 there, you can. -5 times 1 is -5, but it's also multiplied by x, so -5x. And then -5 multiplied by 11, different signs, we know it's going to be negative. 5 times 11 is 55. And again, you can use your calculator if you would like. So we got -5x minus 55. And this is our answer. We cannot combine them together because one has an x and one does not. All right, let's multiply these ones out as well. Either think of it as base times height, or teacher multiplying and giving candy to everyone inside the classroom. Teacher could teach from the back of the room, that's fine. It still goes out front when we multiply. If you want to put it here and multiply, that's fine too. But then we have 2 and a negative n. If you want, you can put the 1 there, so that's a -1n. So we're going to multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. Some people want to add and put 10 there. Nope, we're multiplying because it's touching. And then 8 multiplied by -1 is a -8, but there's also an h multiplied by h. So our answer is 16 minus 8h. It's not 16 minus 8, it's 16 minus 8h. We don't know what 8 times h is, so we leave it. If you want to write it with your letter first, because we should be writing our term with a variable first, it would be -8h, and then plus 16, because this is a positive 16. The negative goes with the 8. Either one of these would be correct answers. All right, next, our base out front is -10, or height, or think of it as a teacher multiplying by everybody in the classroom. We have out front a 1 in front of the x. -10 times 1 is -10, also multiplied by x. A negative times a negative is going to make a positive. We're multiplying. 7 times 10 is 70. So we have -10x plus 70. All right, I would like you to try these two on your own. You're distributing or multiplying the 6 by x and by 4, and multiplying that -4 by x and by -5. So first, 6 times 1 is 6, but also multiplied by x. 6 times 4 is 24. So our first answer is 6x plus 24. Then our second problem, we have -4 out front multiplied by x and by -5. Don't forget that negative goes with the 5. So that's really 1. We have -4 times 1 is -4, and multiplied by x. A negative times a negative makes a positive, and 4 multiplied by 5 is 20. So -4x plus 20 is our answer. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, your worksheet is just distributing, multiplying. There is maybe one question. Nope, you're good. If you have questions, let me know.